Hi everyone, today we're in the studio with writer Tim Baker. Tim, tell me a bit about how you got into writing and how it all began for you.
Yeah, sure. I was always a keen reader as a kid, and I can remember writing a novel in primary school, you know, with a friend of mine, just making up this story and just kind of loving that whole process of inventing a story. And Mum was an English teacher, so she kind of got me keen on reading and writing at a young age. And then I think it was in kind of late high school when I was deciding what I wanted to do after, you know, sitting exams and stuff. And I remember I wrote a surf story in my Year 12 English exam and got a really good mark for it. And it was just a bit of confirmation that that was something that I could kind of pull off, I guess. I took this really kind of spontaneous approach to writing this. I can remember it really clearly. It was like, you know, in that pressure situation of an exam and having this really nice moment, just inventing this little surf story, and afterwards thinking maybe I'd kind of blown this exam, that this wasn't the right thing to do, but then got this really good mark, and that was just like a little bit of encouragement that, yeah, that was a good way to approach writing, that really sort of spontaneous kind of stream of consciousness approach. And I think that's always stayed with me, and that encouraged me to study journalism, and did the whole kind of formal cadetship at a newspaper, and then kind of ran away from newspapers to work for surfing magazines as a young man, and here I am. Yeah.
So how does surfing influence your work?
Well, I mean, it's my main subject matter, what I write about, and it's kind of my main recreation. So I'm really fortunate in that I can kind of go out for a surf just to kind of clear my head and get inspiration. And a lot of times, you know, I might run into someone in the surf and talk about something that is relevant to my work and kind of blur that whole distinction between work and play, you know, which is really, I think, is kind of my my mission statement, you know, trying to blur that line. And so yeah, I surf as much as I can, and it's really great kind of fuel for writing. It both, you know, gives me the kind of creative inspiration just to kind of clear my head and get in the zone, but then it's also the actual subject matter that I'm writing about, and I will literally, you know, kind of sit down and write a story about a surf session, like when we had this massive swell at Christmas. And living on the southern Gold Coast, you know, you bump into all these amazing kind of legendary surfers just in the water, you know, so there's so much great just kind of observational stuff to write about, which is what I kind of really enjoy.
So writing about real things and real people and...
Yeah, and I think a lot of the time, you know, the surf media gets kind of caught up in almost kind of reporting a bit of sort of celebrity gossip like any other media, you know, that this surfer went to this party or whatever. And I kind of like the stuff that happens in the water, you know, the things that actually go down in the ocean when the surf's really good. To me, that's kind of as dramatic and compelling as anything that happens on land, you know. So I kind of like really, yeah, getting into the stuff that happens when you paddle out into the ocean. And it's such a dynamic environment, you know, like as a writer, everything's moving, you know, the possibilities are kind of endless, and there's all this kind of drama and action unfolding. So yeah, I dig it.
And you've also written the book, The Surfer and the Mermaid.
Yeah.
When you saw Ted Grambo's images, did you see a story, or how did that come?
Yeah, well, that was all just kind of serendipity, really. Ted did this trip to Tonga with Dave Rastovich, professional free surfer, and you know, Dave's really involved in this sort of anti-whaling campaign and marine conservation, and they just wanted to go to Tonga and get these images of Dave swimming with the whales. Dave's partner at the time, Hannah, happened to be a mermaid model and had packed her mermaid tail. So, you know, Ted didn't even know this at the time, and when they got out there, she started swimming with the whales too, looking for all the world like a mermaid, and he just captured these incredible images. And, you know, Ted's this great, you know, creative artist who is just completely in it for the adventure, you know, the kind of creative process of creating an image. And he hadn't even thought about the outcome or what he wanted to do with these photos or how to commercialise them or monetise them or anything like that. And when I saw them, I just went, these are phenomenal, what are you going to do with them? And Ted just kind of shrugs his shoulders, goes, oh, I don't know. and as I was looking through them, yeah, I just kind of saw this story, you know, and they swim, they swim through this underwater tunnel and come out the other side and they see the whales. And so this little story just kind of materialised for me, and I started arranging the photos in a particular order and creating a storyboard, and lo and behold, we just discovered we had this neat little kind of children's book. Yeah.
And that story is going to be turned into real life and become a theatre production during the Bleach Festival. How's that coming along? Have you seen rehearsals?
It's great. It's an amazing process. And again, you know, it's all such a kind of chance thing, you know, and I've often said to the people involved, like if we'd had this idea of creating this story and flown to Tonga and where you can swim with the whales and tried to create it, it never would have worked, you know, like you can imagine being in the water and trying to go, okay, we need the mermaid over here and whales, we swim from left to right and then let's shoot that. And it's just another reminder that, you know, happy accidents are sometimes the greatest kind of creative windfalls, you know, it's really hard to kind of orchestrate that stuff. And so Louise Bazina, the director of Bleach, saw the book and loved it and approached me about producing this children's theatre piece. So we've been working with a director and auditioning actors and sourcing original music, and it's a really fresh project for me, you know, because most of my work's, you know, quite solitary, sitting at a desk in front of a computer. So this kind of group dynamic of pulling a theatre production together has been fantastic.
Also, during Bleach, are you going to be having writers' workshops?
Yeah, I'm giving a writing workshop. I think it's up at Kira Hill. And I've done a few of these in the past at various kind of writers' centres or writers' festivals. And I think surfing, you know, makes really great subject matter for storytelling, and I know most surfers kind of feel like they've got a great story in them, you know, if it was the epic trip to Nias back in the day, or, you know, just their latest surf trip down the coast with their mates, or whatever it might be. You know, surfers are a bit like fishermen, they love telling tall stories. And so there are just a few kind of simple techniques I think you can learn to kind of assist your storytelling to make, you know, there's nothing worse than telling a story and people kind of their eyes rolling back in their head and, you know, drifting off. So there's there's a few little kind of keys to kind of telling a good story and how to hold an audience's interest and really kind of bring your story to life. So I'm hoping to kind of impart some of those tricks of the trade and some nice little kind of writing exercises just to kind of get the creative juices flowing.
And are you looking forward to the Bleach Festival?
Yeah, I'm really glad it's happening. I think it's a really good thing for this area and for surfing because, you know, I'm not especially kind of into the competitive side of surfing. I enjoy watching surfing, but I've always thought surfing contests are kind of this sort of artificial construct surfing's come up with to try and make itself respectable, you know, to kind of get media attention and sponsorship, and that's all fine, and some surfers, that's what they're into and that's great, but I think there's a whole other part of the surfing community for whom surfing isn't about competition, and it's a form of creative self-expression, it's kind of a dance. So I love the idea that surfing's getting looked at, I guess, for its sort of cultural aspects and the music and the art and the writing and the theatre that it can inspire. I think it's a really good thing.
All right, Tim, thank you very much, and keep up the good work, and we'll see you at Bleach.
Thank you, looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Cheers.